worked with people like Larry Carlton and Tom Scott and those types of people, Ray Parker Jr. And they all talked about when we were together. I think we did a tour of Japan or something, but backstage I remember them talking about the good old days of doing 8 sessions a day, of going from studio to studio to studio to studio. You had your cartage guy just, okay, all right, I gotta get over here and then get into this studio. Yeah, that's how much they were doing, that's how much they were working. Back in those days. So it definitely wasn't that when we were, I was coming up, but it was definitely studio driven.
Hey everybody, Mike Jeffers, a special Around Town. We are backstage at the Chicago Blues Fest. This is Sunday, June 11th, and I am with Bear Williams. He, obviously you've seen Bear Williams on my program before. We've known each other for a little while now. He's playing at the Roses stage this afternoon, so you can't see that since this is on recording. However, the exciting news is he's actually going to be headlining the Deer Park Wine and Music Fest, which Chicago Jazz has produced since the beginning of it. It used to be the Deer Park Jazz and Wine Fest. Coming up August 12th, so the Bear Williams Band, the full band. He's also got the Bear Williams Trio, and he's also a part of Maze, but we're going to talk about that, which is the Frankie Beverly Band that is moving and doing some different things on their own as well, outside of when Frankie hires them and takes them on tour like he has been for years and years and years. So Bear, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
It is good to see you. So let's just kick it off right now. You're playing Roses Lounge, and that's with the full band, the Bear Williams Band, and it's the same band you're going to actually have at the Deer Park Wine and Music Fest coming up on August 12th. So talk a little bit about that, because the reason why I love the fact that you're on the fest, both fests, but especially my fest, is because you do such a mixture of stuff because of your background. It's R&B, it's blues, it's smooth jazz, it's funk, it's everything, and you can do all that stuff. Talk a little bit about the band, who's in the band, and how you kind of got the whole thing together.
Well, the whole thing started actually when I moved back here to Chicago from being in LA doing the session thing and stuff. And so I came back here about 2017. We started to formulate, well, I should probably do some a new band. And so what happened was my wife Dee, who you know, had some friends that worked at the Old Town School, teachers. And so we happened to be driving past one day, and she's like, I think I see Alton. That's Alton. Pull over. I haven't seen him in years. So he's a keyboard player, right? So we go in, and she's greeting him, and then I walk into the other room, and there's this the guitar player. His name is Bill Brickey. And so, he's like, yeah, man, you should go meet Bill. Bill is really, really great guy. So we started talking and hit it off. He invited me to his studio the next week. So we, have been fast friends ever since. And so I asked him to join the band. I asked Alton, and they both said, absolutely, yeah. I said, well, we need because Bill is more of a kind of I won't say bluegrass, but he does a lot of picking things,
right.
Which is real. I love that stuff. But for the blues thing, he's doing more rhythm. I said, do you know any lead guitar player? He said, I know exactly who to grab. And so he called a guy by the name of Chris Winters, who's been my lead guitar player for that long. And so we've had a couple of drummers. We had Clyde Davis, great Clyde Davis, initially for the first couple of years, and then he went on to do some other things. And so now we have the awesome Chuck Lacey on drums. And so that kind of rounded it out, and so that's been the nucleus of the group since 2017,
and
roughly.
You have such a background because, as you mentioned briefly, but you were in LA for like 25 years. You were playing with everybody and recording with everybody. I know you've been, touring with Frankie Beverly. Frankie Valley's still touring too, which is amazing to me. It sounds unbelievable. But
that's crazy.
But Frankie Beverly, for what? How long has it been that you've been touring with?
20 years. With
I
Frankie.
mean, you guys do all sorts of tunes, and that's all the Frankie Beverly tunes.
Right.
But all of the music that you used to do when you were in LA, you had to be able to kind of like a chameleon, right? So you were able to play all these different styles, and that's sort of what you bring into your own band, right? Because it's the music that you love.
It is. When we first started the band, we were doing more original stuff from the album, from the first album, which came out in 2018, Waters of Love, which you can still get, by the way. As I was doing the shows in locally and around places, people started, asking for songs, and I was like, well, we should probably put some more cover things in and some different things. So we're doing everything now from we did a private party the other day. We did a Dave Mason. We just disagreed. We didn't put that in, and Bill Bricky looked over at me. He was like, "That's a keeper. That's a keeper." So we're doing a wide variety of stuff. We're doing some Wilson Pickett. We're doing some Muddy Waters. Matter of fact, today we'll do both of those over at the Rosa stage. It does come from. Actually, it comes from my roots in Chicago, having played with so many different people here first, and Chicago. You're a drummer.
Yeah.
It's a proving ground. You got to play everything.
Yep.
And so that's what you end up doing. And so that's when I went to LA. It helped me to become successful because people were like, "Well, call him. He can play it."
How did you decide to move to LA?
I had been touring with Anita Baker's band. 1990 was the first tour that I did with her. And after the tour, everybody in the band who was out in LA, they were all like, "Man, you gotta come out. You gotta come out here, man. And, man, we'll get you working, man." And so I went home. I thought about it. I put it in the back of my mind, and I went home. And then I was living in Elgin at the time, and I was just sitting in the living room, and I was just like, it's like,
what am I doing?
I know, exactly. So it was like, okay, let's make the move. Let's go ahead and do it, and we did. 25 years later, it was time to move back here, and but yeah, it was just one of those things where everybody was just like, "Dude, come on out here."
Well, and at that time too, especially that time, there was a lot of recording out there.
Right.
Now, I think a lot of people can do things remotely all over the world now. But back then, when you first moved out there, you really had to be there. You had to be in the scene to get the calls, right?
Yeah. It was. I caught the tail end of that whole. It's funny. I caught the tail end of the recording industry here.
Yeah.
As a kid coming out of high school, and same thing in LA, because it was. I worked with people like Larry Carlton and Tom Scott and those types of people, Ray Parker Jr. and they all talked about when we were together. I think we did a tour of Japan or something. But backstage, I remember them talking about the good old days of doing 8 sessions a day, of going from studio to studio to studio to studio. You had your cartage guy. Just, okay, all right, I gotta get over here and then get into this studio. Yeah, that's how much they were doing, that's how much they were working. Back in those days. So it definitely wasn't that when we were, I was coming up, but it was definitely studio driven. You had to do everything pretty much at a big studio.
Right. And now people do stuff remotely all over. They just send tracks. They send tracks and things. I know you probably still do a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah. I have clients in Germany and France, all over the place. That you can do stuff remotely, which is amazing now. Amazing stuff.
So let's talk a little bit before I let you go. Of course, Bear Williams Band. BearWilliamsMusic.com, BearWilliamsMusic.com, linked up down below. I got to get him back over to the Rosa stage, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask him about Maze. Now, you guys have been backing up Frankie Beverly for 20 plus years, probably.
Yes.
But now you guys are, since he's not as touring as much, and, obviously just the nature of the business, I think, basically, with that size of a group, you guys are kind of able to do other shows, so you're starting a little side project off of that, right? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. The band decided to continue on with the music in a different. It's the same music, but kind of a different format. We've got a new singer, not replacing Frankie. You can't replace Frankie Beverly, but we're doing a different kind of a spin on it, and it's called TMF, the Music Forever. And so our whole focus really was whenever. He's still working, but whenever he decides that we wanted to continue on doing that. So our website is tmfconcerts.com, TMF, the music forever, tmfconcerts.com. And our first show is this coming Sunday, the 18th of June in Atlanta, Georgia, at Chastain Park.
But I mean, what a tribute, right? So I mean, even if Frankie only does a handful of dates every single year or whatever he feels like doing, because he's Frankie Beverly, he can pretty much do whatever he wants.
Right.
You guys can actually keep the music alive and keep it happening and keep working and keep playing and keep loving the music, and the fans can keep digging it. And then when they can see Frankie, they can see Frankie.
Exactly. Yeah, we've gotten such wonderful feedback from when we launched in May 8th of this year. People have just been, this is awesome. We can't wait to see it. We're excited about it. And so it's been great. It's been great. And so, all love to Frankie. We mean absolutely no disrespect.
No,
we are definitely, it's a love fest for him. So it's really, when we go out there and play, it's with him in the forefront of our minds and in our hearts. So
yeah. Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you
that.
so much,
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
And of course, I'm looking forward to having you at the Deer Park
Meet us
Music
too,
Fest.
yeah.
That is going to be fun.
That's gonna
And
be awesome.
so thank you guys for watching. As I always say, all the information is at bluesinchicago.com, chicagojazz.com, and until next time, hopefully I will see somebody out on the scene.